The new Minecraft 1.20 update brings us a bunch of weird and random stuff, and one of those is the really nice cherry blossom biome. The only thing that the Trails and Tales update— oh god, that is not good for dyslexic people. But like I was saying, the only thing that this new Minecraft update doesn't bring us is big structures. Because of that, I made a cherry blossom village that you guys really liked. Actually, you guys completely broke my channel, what the heck? 946 more views, what the f— So, structures. One thing that we already have is temples, like the desert temple or the jungle temple. But what if Mojang decides to make a cherry blossom temple? Just don't skip to the end of the video because that's a very illegal thing to do. Alright, maybe you can, but you will make my dog very sad. Isn't that right? Subscribe. So the first thing that we need to do is the planning. But I'm the best fan. I just want like to pick the temples, pick a cherry blossom biome, and then BAM! Something cool. For that, we need to choose the style of the temple, and it's pretty obvious it's going to be the Japanese style. On the last week I spent a lot of time reading every single comment that you made in my other video, and thank you so much because that will help me very much in this video. I just wonder why half of the people that commented have anime profile pictures. One of the things that you guys told me is that Mojang would never make something related to religion, which is true. But one thing they do is making things related to the culture of different people. For example, we have the temples that they are clearly inspired by some old civilizations, like the Maya civilization, aka the jungle temple, and the Egyptian one, aka the desert temple. Also, one thing they did recently is adding a bunch of different skins that represent each culture, which was very unexpected. So it's not a completely out of the box idea thinking of adding a Japanese temple to Minecraft. The next thing that we need to do is to think where our temple would spawn. And my answer is on the top of a mountain, like every single movie that touches Japanese architecture. This structure would be also very rare, because first we need a cherry blossom biome, which is hard to find. And next, we need it to spawn above a certain height level. So let's find a location to build our temple. So the temple needs to be in a big mountain, just like that one. The next thing that we need to do is to choose a great color palette, and according to your comments, this was a big issue in the other video. To make the Japanese village, I used the black stone to build the roof, because I needed that really dark color that makes nice contrast, and to make it the most similar to the builds in real life. You guys told me that I should not use this block because it's supposed to be a rare block that you can only get in the net, and I completely agree with you. But if I did that, I would probably use a deep slate, and that doesn't look that good. Also, the thumbnail of the video would be worse, because there is less contrast and there is a small chance that you never clicked on that video. For this build, I will not use blackstone or even deep slate, because I have an idea. I will try to use the cherry logs to make the roof, and in this case the only problem is that it will be less detailed because I don't have slabs or stairs. Another thing that you guys said is that why I didn't use cherry planks, and my answer is because it's pink. I wanted to make a badass Japanese village and not a children's playground. If I used the pink color, the village would look like a candy version of it. Like, the mix of white and pink doesn't feel Japanese at all. That's why I used mangrove wood, because red and white looks much better. But for this build, I will try to incorporate the pink color because it still makes sense using it. We are on the cherry blossom biome after all. But it will be very hard. And last but not least, we need a white color, and for that I will be using quartz. It makes sense because the villagers can trade it, and with that mechanic you can easily farm a bunch of quartz blocks. Just don't forget that you cannot transform quartz blocks back to quartz ore, which means you cannot make, for example, redstone components. So it's not really overpowered having a bunch of quartz in a rare structure. Now that we got a nice color palette that makes sense and a place to make the structure, we just need to build it. I want this structure to be around the same size of the other temple. For that, I placed the temples in a testing world, and we can see that they occupy around one chunk, which is 16 by 16 blocks, or even a little more. We can also see that these structures are not even that detailed. They literally don't use slabs or stairs. That's impressive. They only look good because the shape is perfect, and that's what I'm going to try to do. To get inspiration, I also saw a bunch of images from real-life Japanese temples, but with this color palette, it will be really hard. So let's start building, and the first thing that we need to do is to destroy forest. Now that we are the principal cause of deforestation, we need to make a base to our structure. So the base should be around the same size of the other temples, that's why 16 by 16 should be enough. And this is the base. I think the size is perfect, and now it's time for the real structure. I'm going to use the pink color for the framing, and I really hope it looks decent. I'm not sure about this one, but let's keep going. Like, I am so scared that this color palette doesn't work, but at least I'm trying. And now we have a box that reminds me of candy instead of Japanese culture. So now it's time to make the first roof, and when I talk about roofs of Japanese temples, it's like they have different layers, like my stages of depression. Nah, I cannot do this. This is stupid. How can I make a Japanese roof without stairs or slab? Every single person on the universe uses it. I'm never going to finish this. Bro, how is the shape looking so bad? And why is everything facing the wrong direction? What the fuck? Nah, I'm just spamming blocks. I don't even care. Alright, maybe I don't need to use these blocks. This doesn't need to be that perfect, right? There is not a single structure that is perfect, so I don't need to make one. This is not even symmetrical, but it doesn't matter. God will fix this. Maybe I'm just bad. Yeah, I'm just bad. Maybe I should stop doing videos and touch grass. I think I'm adopted. Am I a failure? Let's see how bad this looks. Actually, it doesn't look that bad. What? I can finally starting imagining something. Alright, this might look cool. So, after completing my depression cycle, it was time to make the next layer of the build. It was time to make the walls bigger and make the other roof. Yes, the depression cycle starts again. As you noticed, making this type of roofs with just blocks is extremely hard because I cannot detail them. The shape never looks right. I just place blocks, destroy them, and place them again in the same place. I know it sounds stupid, but at least I'm getting somewhere. It's been 2 hours to make this small structure. So I started to make the top roof, and the things were starting to look right. Nah, this is starting to look sick, even without having major details, like the shape is looking perfect, and that's exactly what I wanted. So, after covering some holes, fixing some small details, and making sure that every single piece of wood was facing the same direction, which was extremely painful. I know it looks easy, but trust me, it's not. I finally got the perfect shape with the ideal materials and without having any details, just like mojang would probably do. Yo, this is sick! What? I'm impressed with myself. This is awesome. It really looks like it was generated by the game. This is perfect. Like, I know it's extremely simple, but that's exactly what mojang would do. And now it's time for some small details, like these lanterns. I just hope I don't over detail everything, but we all know that is going to happen. So I started by adding a staircase in the entrance, and I have absolutely no idea how am I going to decorate this thing. I started by replacing the inside floor with this bamboo mosaic block. I tried to put like a circular window in the middle, but I think it looks better on the top. And now this was probably the most painful thing of this video, because I tried to add something in the middle of the build and everything looked weird. Everything. So I decided to do nothing because everything that I did looked weird or over detailed. For example, I added a small pink roof that looks cool, but I think I prefer without it. Like, this is cool, right? But is it better? I think it makes the structure better, but it breaks a little the shape, and that is more important. Just leave your opinion in the comments if you want. On the sides of the build, I just added a small pot of bamboo, and it looks cool. Come on, I need to detail something. I also added some flower pots at the entrance. Another thing that I tried is adding banners, and nah. This small window looked not that bad, but it killed the vibe. This was starting to get hard because nothing fits. But one thing that I noticed is that the view from the temple is beautiful. I'm getting out of ideas, like every time I add something, I think it looks worse. This is not bad, but is also not good. Because of my paranoia with the colors, I just changed the entire building with the other color palette. Nope, mojang would never do something like this. So I just went back and I think this is enough. Like, the level of detail is similar to the other structure, so I think this is probably what mojang would do. Just imagine how cool it would be walking through the forest and see that. That is awesome. This is the best view ever. But now it's time for some interior ideas. So on the upper level you could have, for example, 2 normal loot chests, like the other dungeons, and the main feature is a samurai sword in an item frame. How cool that would be. The lower level is empty for now, but we could, for example, add like a bunch of flowers, and I think this is it. I really can imagine this structure spawning on the cherry blossom biome. It looks awesome and it fits the mojang style. So comment your opinion if you agree or not, and I see you on the next video. Bye.